Happy Friday! Thank you for joining us for our third episode of Smart Trips Live. My name is Ashley. I'm a senior planner at the Transportation Department and a longtime Smart Trips Austin team member. Smart Trips Austin is all about helping you explore new ways to get around. So for this Bike Month, we brought on representatives from Bike Austin. Chris and Adam, would you mind introducing yourselves and tell us how you became interested in bicycle advocacy in Austin?
Sure, I'm Chris Riley. I'm currently the board president of Bike Austin. I've been a big bike guy for a long time. I've really been biking my whole life. And for some years ago, I started getting involved in city issues through my neighborhood association and city boards and commissions. And I came to realize the impact that city policies have on affecting the conditions for biking and how much more we could do to make biking a more attractive option for more people. And so over the years, I've been very interested in trying to push forward our city policies in order to make the conditions better, so that biking can be an appealing option for everybody. Adam?
And my name is Adam Greenfield. I'm a board member of Bike Austin. And I got into bicycling as a child. My mother taught me to ride my bike to school, which was about 3 miles away, which is actually sort of the average trip most people make when they leave the house. And bicycling has always been in my life. And in Austin, I don't own a car. I only have a bicycle. It's the only way I get around, either walking or bicycling. And, they say Austin is a driving city, but actually it's really a wonderful place to bike. And so much of my joy that I experience on a daily basis comes from bicycling around Austin and experiencing the sights and the sounds and the breeze and connecting with people as I go by. It's just such a wonderful, joyful experience that I'm seeing more and more people enjoy it out on the streets right now. I've been involved with some really exciting bicycling stuff in Austin. I was really proud to work with Bike Austin and Walk Austin on helping with the public process to get protected bike lanes and pedestrian improvements on Shoal Creek. And those are going in as we speak. And we're seeing there that children without parents are riding on that street for the first time, which is just something that you rarely saw before. So this is an amazing time for bicycling, and I'm just so proud to be part of this growing movement.
And I'm really excited to have the two of you on today because I've, over the years, had the privilege to work with you all in a professional and kind of personal way. Like Adam, I remember we met at one of the Bike Austin neighborhood advisory or advocacy council campaigns. And then Chris, you were pretty much dubbed the bicycle council member in Austin back when Austin had an at-large council. So, you've both over the years contributed largely to the bicycle scene. I think it'd be interesting, Chris, for you to talk about how Bike Austin got started and how it's evolved over the years.
Yeah, it's an interesting story because Bike Austin has been in a state of evolution for a long time, and that evolution continues today. For a long time, going back at least 20 years or so, actually more than that, there was a large organization in Austin called the Austin Cycling Association. And that was mostly the recreational riders who like to get together and take longer rides. You might think of them as the spandex people, the people who really are hardcore, very serious recreational cyclists. And there's a lot of those in Austin. And then there was sort of a different crowd that emerged really about 10, 15 years ago around some public policy issues. And that crowd was more interested in advocacy and bicycling as transportation. And so you had these different groups of cyclists. Those are two. There were a few others out there. And at some point, actually, it was just about 5 or 6 years ago that finally, after discussions over a long time, those two groups merged, and they chose the name of Bike Austin, and so it became sort of an umbrella organization to advocate for the interest of getting more people on bikes for whatever reason here in Austin, whether you're interested in biking for recreation or exercise, or you're more interested in biking for transportation as a public policy matter, the advocacy. And that's where we are today. We have a very broad organization representing a lot of different types of cyclists, and as well as people who don't really consider themselves cyclists, but would just like to be able to hop on their bikes now and then. And we're still having all kinds of conversations about the direction that the organization should go. Lately, we've been with Walk Austin, thanks to the efforts of Adam and a lot of other great advocates that we have here, especially interested in pedestrian-oriented issues. And the whole focus is on rethinking our streets to make conditions more appealing for people who choose to get around by some way other than the car, whether that means walking somewhere or being on your bike. And so we're working jointly on a lot of things. Right now, there's a lot of talk about what we're going to do about the next bond election so that we can make further progress on both bicycle facilities and pedestrian facilities. But we still, over the course of that whole time, we still our main interest at Bike Austin is in getting more people on bikes and just making conditions better so that it'll be a more appealing option, so that it can be a regular part of daily life for anyone, whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old. Biking ought to be a safe and attractive option as a way of getting around town.
Chris, that was a really great introduction. I'm going to stop and pause for a question from the audience from Alliance for Public Transportation. They've asked, do you think bike lanes should be on all arterial roads, or should we focus our bike network on less auto-oriented parallel streets? It's a very good question.
It is a good question, and I'll take a first stab at it. Adam will have something to offer as well. Personally, I think we should have bicycle facilities on every road. I think all the streets, the basic function of streets is not just to move cars around, but it's to enable social contact. A street is public space, and it should be available and accessible to anyone, whether they're in a car, whether they're on foot, or whether they're in a bicycle. It so happens that currently many of our major arterial streets are not such pleasant places for biking, especially because often if you do have a bike lane at all, it may just be a painted stripe on the street, and that's not adequate. I don't encourage anyone to get out there and try to interact with traffic on streets that feel unsafe. Nobody should feel unsafe on a street. If you feel confident doing that, that's great. But really, right now we do have a pretty good network of streets, many of which are not the main arterial streets. And so, if you're just starting biking, I would recommend people look for those streets that are safer often than the neighborhood streets that feel more comfortable. But our long-term vision as a city should be that our arterials, all our city streets, all our roads in Austin should be comfortable and appealing for all users. This is entirely possible. If you look at other cities around the world, you will find streets that carry large volumes of traffic and yet are appealing even for people who aren't in cars. And the result is actually better for everyone, both those in cars and those who are not in cars. You can still move traffic and have a very pleasant, appealing place. And as long as you have safe, comfortable facilities for people who aren't in cars. That's not an easy undertaking. We are in the midst of trying to get there now, but that should be our vision. Every street in Austin should be accessible and appealing for everyone, whether they're in a car or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think wherever people want to go, they should be able to get there safely on a bicycle. And sometimes that means a specific form of bike infrastructure, like a protected bike lane where there's something between the bike lane and moving cars. Sometimes it just means slowing the street down, and that alone can be enough to make it a comfortable street. where you can take a child out bicycling with you. And, you know, I think that kind of links into the Healthy Streets conversation, which hopefully we'll have whenever you want to bring us there, Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to touch on this question, we have a all ages and abilities network that hasn't been fully implemented, but it's made up of streets that have protected facilities, non-protected facilities, and urban trails. So I honestly think it's a combination of different types of bike facilities, whether they're on or off-road, that can really create, just as you said, Adam, like a way for people to bike or walk to most of their destinations. But to jump into Healthy Streets, and also about the collaboration you all have been doing with Walk Austin, because I think it's really interesting that Bike Austin is interested in kind of expanding beyond bikes or recognizing the allies that exist in the community. Talk about this petition, Adam, that was created for the Healthy Streets. I think it was seen as a really big success. And then, like, what other initiatives you all are working on with Walk Austin?
Yeah, so many people know I'm also a board member on Walk Austin, so I wear both hats, but we all wear the pedestrian hat, no matter how we choose to get around most of the time. Healthy Streets, our push, Walk Austin and Bike Austin's push for Healthy Streets, and the 30 other organizations that joined us, was a COVID-19 response measure, basically saying that people are crowding in parks and on trails. That's not safe right now. We're discouraging that. And at the same time, a lot of people don't have access to safe recreation close to where they live. People are also experiencing just general stress, and streets for everybody, not just people who drive, but people who walk and bike, need to play a bigger role in helping people get through this crisis. And the Slow Streets program has been implemented in many cities around the country. Oakland, I think, was the first one. And it's a very simple concept. All it is basically rebalancing the street to make walking and biking as safe and comfortable and attractive, and for people getting around that way to feel equal to people driving. And so usually it just involves some barricades at the end of blocks that cars can easily drive around, but just help slow the street down. And Walk Austin and Bike Austin and other organizations collaborated on a letter to the city council saying, we call on you to create this program in Austin. Then we set up a public petition. Within a week, it had over 1,000 signatures. And shortly after that, City Council unanimously voted to create the program. And also, they specifically said after the pandemic to consider how this program fits into the recovery phase and beyond, which is really exciting. So last Thursday was the historic day, and I still remember it fondly. A week later, my memory is still fresh, where they rolled it out and to the South Central Austin around the Country Club Creek Trail, Kamal Road from Lady Bird Lake to Manor Road, and then Bolden Avenue and 3rd Street. And it has been a revelation, I think. It has been hugely popular. And I encourage everybody to go to the City of Austin's Healthy Streets webpage, which is austintexas.gov/Healthy Streets. And you can give feedback on the existing Healthy Streets. And you can also, this is very cool, they have an interactive map where you can suggest a future Healthy Street. And if someone's already suggested it, you can post a comment in support of that suggestion. And it is, you can spend quite some time enjoying what the public is coming up with, and including the uplifting and inspiring and positive comments that people have. And it's right that there is a dialogue about this, and it's good that some people have questions or comments or criticisms. Overall, it seems the public is thrilled about this. Absolutely thrilled. So we're just at the beginning. I think Walk Austin and Bike Austin are very keen to hear from the city. If you guys are watching out there, we're very keen to hear what's coming next, because it's been just over a week now since the first batch of streets. Oakland was spacing out its release of new streets by a week. So it's a week, and we want to hear from the city of Austin what's coming next. The public is very keen.
Cool. Well, and thank you for promoting Healthy Streets, Adam. I know that Bike Austin is not only working on Healthy Streets, and there's many other initiatives out there, such as I realize that the Bike Austin website has been updated to provide a really great bicycle resource page, but then I see some other campaigns for other roadways available. Chris, can you tell us more about those initiatives?
Sure, I'll be glad to. Right now, there's two important campaigns going on, and they both relate to roads up north. One is Burnett Road, and the other is North Lamar. And in particular, that's the stretch is going north of 183. With Burnett Road, it's from 183 up north to Mopac, and then for North Lamar, it's 183 up to I-35. Now, these roads are still owned and controlled by TxDOT, the Texas Department of Transportation, and they really still feel like highways. There's no bicycle facilities at all. They don't feel very safe. They're deadly streets. There are a lot of crashes and many fatal crashes on those streets. And so the city, they are now very much part of the city of Austin. We have a lot of work to do to transform those streets. There are plans underway with funding to actually improve those streets and add bicycle and pedestrian facilities. But we need to make sure the city gets this right, because we don't want to expect people to be riding their bikes right next to fast-moving car traffic. It doesn't feel safe, and it doesn't feel pleasant. What we need to have is bicycle facilities that have a healthy separation from car traffic, at least 10 feet or so, with a nice landscaping strip in between, ideally with street trees, and so that you can actually enjoy some greenery as you ride along that street. And it actually could be a pleasant experience. It's hard to imagine a pleasant experience along those roads today, but there's every reason why we should get there. And in fact, we have the ability to get there, but it's not going to happen without people getting involved and weighing in. So I'd encourage everybody to go to that Bike Austin webpage, bikeaustin.org. You can see the links right there on that page, and they have more information. This is going on right now with North Lamar, the public hearing. There's an online virtual public hearing that's going on right now, and it's going to end at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So you have just over one day to weigh in, and you can see the information right there on the Bike Austin web. We've even got some language that's suggested language that if you agree, you can just copy and paste that into the page on the public hearing form. The public hearing for Burnett Road started a little bit later than that, and so it's going to end a week from today, 5 o'clock on Friday, a week from today. So in both cases, there's a big opportunity to make significant advances for biking, and I really hope people will chime in and help promote the cause. That's the sort of thing that we really need to be working on together on the part of everyone who cares about providing more pleasant and appealing options for people who might want to get around by some means other than the car. We really need the public to take an interest in this and chime in. I really think, with our past surveys in the city have indicated that most people in Austin would actually like to be able to ride in a protected bike lane. This is not just a small fringy thing. Most people would like to be able to do this, but we can't just sit back and expect it to happen on its own. We really need to get people involved and plugged in, and so going to the Bike Austin webpage is a good way to get started to do that.
Yeah,
and
so I was going to say that transitions really well into my next question for Adam, which is now for those people who are so compelled by the work you're doing, how can folks get more involved? And I know it's a nonprofit and a membership organization, so are you still accepting members? What's happening now with Bike Austin?
Well, absolutely. If you go to the Bike Austin website, bikeaustin.org, you can sign up as a member. If you want to get in touch with us directly, it's easy, info@bikeaustin.org, or you can go to the website and contact us that way. Maybe there's something going on near you or an improvement that you would like to see. let us know. Also, just go to the website and sign up for our mailing list. That's really a key way that we communicate with people and let them know what opportunities there are coming for involvement in projects like the ones that Chris just talked about. So definitely sign up for the mailing list. I think if you do one thing, just join us with that, and then watch as the messages come in, and you can participate that way. Yeah. Did I cover that, Chris? I think that's where I would start.
Yeah. Yes. You can do all that right from the Bike Austin website.
Right.
Cool. Well, before we go, do either of you have advice for our viewers on how they can keep or get some more riding in during COVID or as temperatures increase?
Sure, I'll jump in. Biking is a great way to get some exercise when you head out for exercise, but it's also a way to just handle your short trips. Most trips we take in the U.S. are short trips of less than 3 miles, and so a lot of those trips that you do every day could be done by bicycle if you just think about it. I like having panniers, saddlebags on my bike, so I can run to the grocery store and put stuff in my saddlebags. But a backpack will work just fine. I would encourage everyone to think about those short trips, which you do every day. And if you just try some of that on your bicycle, you can actually get your exercise in just by automatically going through your daily routine. For me, once I started doing that, I came to realize that when I would go someplace by bicycle, I would invariably arrive feeling happier than before I left. And that was very seldom the case when I drove a car. There was a time when I haven't had a car in over 10 years now, but and I gave it up because I realized I was so much happier when I went someplace on my bicycle instead. And I'd ever encourage everyone to just give that a try. For those regular short trips you all do all the time, try doing it on your bike and see how it feels. And if it makes you happier, run with that. Embrace that and think about making that a regular part of your daily routine.
I think I'm going to jump on the Joy bike as well and just echo that bicycling is one of the great daily joys in many of our lives who do it. It is just so much fun. Even if you're not looking forward to what you're going to do at the end of the ride, like a meeting or confronting someone or something like that, how you get there is almost always fun on a bike. So for those who haven't done it yet, find a friend who does do it and jump on one of the city's many protected bike lanes that are already out there, or a quiet street or a healthy street, and just have fun with it. It is such a joyful thing to do. And I just want to, by the way, give huge props, not only to all the advocates that push for this stuff, but Austin Transportation Department has been amazing in rolling this stuff out. I mean, this truly, if there's ever said to be a golden age of cycling in Austin, it is right now. It is today. And the city staff works so hard on making sure the community's heard and making sure these facilities are amazing. And they are. And it's just growing all the time. So get out there and have fun with friends, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Dang, Adam, you made me blush a little. Even though I can't say it's my effort, it's many, many people who work at the city who've created this great cycling atmosphere that we all live in. I guess my advice for people who are trying to get in more riding is the great thing about, it's not great, but I think one of the unexpected consequences of COVID-19 is it's enabling us to stay closer to home and kind of get a new perspective of our neighborhood and places that we might have passed by all the time. So riding a bike is a great way to get a new perspective and see things that you hadn't seen before. If you used to drive to the park, try biking there or try walking there or head to your friend's house. I mean, it'll be fun, quick. You don't have to break a sweat. You can just cruise. It'll be a new way of exploring the city. I think that's about all the time we have today. And Adam and Chris, thank you again so much for joining us and giving us an update on what Bike Austin has been up to, especially during Bike Month. Unfortunately, this will be the last time that I see you viewers for a while. As Bike Month is wrapping up, I am going to be passing the torch along to my Capital Metro colleague, Lonnie Stern, where next week he's going to be talking with representatives from Movability. Same time, same place, Friday, 1 p.m. Hope you all make it. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, Ashley.
Of course.
Bye.
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 Have a great weekend, everyone.
Take care.